Welcome, everybody, to the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. My name is Metal Mike, and we got nothing but NFL football to talk about today. We don't have much college football. We do have some college football stuff coming in the news segment today, but other than that, we have nothing to talk about coming out of college football. So we have a jam-packed show full of NFL news for you, running down week 15 of the 2025 NFL season. We also got the records and milestones that could be broken today. Or this week, I should say. We also got the playoff scenarios for week 15. So teams that could get clinched into the playoffs, teams that get eliminated from playoff contention, and even a team that can clinch their division today. And we also got the news coming out of the world of football. Before we get into it, please make sure you're heading over to the Huddle Hub podcast social medias after the show and hitting that follow button over on the X and the TikTok. You're going to hit subscribe over on the YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. That's how you follow over on the YouTube. Excuse me. Sorry. And help us build the Huddle Hub podcast going through the 2025 season and beyond. We are a little late today. That is because we had some not so friendly weather here in Pennsylvania, in my parts of the world, as I should say. We got about 5 to 6 inches of snow. With that came heavy winds. And it knocked out my power for a little bit, for a couple minutes. And then with that, my internet had to wait for everything to kind of boot back up and get everything rolling here for the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. But there was no way that I was not going to be live today. I don't care if I would have had to go live at noontime today. We were going to make this show happen and get you guys ready for week 15 in the NFL. Now, me and John, we are going to be talking college football on Tuesday, on the Tuesday show at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We got a bunch of college stuff to talk about as we get you guys ready for the college football playoffs next weekend. So that is where you're going to get a lot of your college football talk from us, is on the Tuesday show. Today is just about the NFL. And it's been a while since we had a show that was just about the NFL. Because normally on Sundays, we do talk about the college football week. But the only game that really took place yesterday was Army-Navy. And then we had the Heisman Trophy, who got crowned last night. We're going to talk about that for a moment. Me and John will talk more in depth about the Heisman Trophy winner on Tuesday's show. But today we're not going to talk about that too much. We'll save that for Tuesday and give our full analysis on the Heisman Trophy, winner. Because we're also going to run down the other awards that got crowned this weekend. The Maxwell Awards, the Dick Butkus Award, and all that stuff. So we're going to run all that stuff down on the Tuesday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast, where we're going to cover most of the college football stuff. But today, again, is all about week 15. Before we get into talking about everything, number one, our thoughts, well wishes, prayers, whatever you want to say, go out to all the victims of the incident that happened out in Rhode Island yesterday. Such tragic news. I was talking to my mom about this the other day. Actually, it was about this last night when the news came across and what happened out in Rhode Island. And, I said that's the thing is the world today is such a scary place. It is. It's such a scary place because, you can walk out of your house, you can go to a store, school, anything. And there's always something. There's always something. And it's scary. You see videos online all the time. I seen a scary video online the other day. Scared the crap out of me. Neighbors that just got into a little scuffle turned into tragedy. And how it got put on the internet, I don't know. And how people can actually have the wherewithal, the thought process to put something like that on the internet. Just the tragedy. And it's very, very sad. This is a very, very, very scary world we live in as we get out of 2025 heading into 2026. It is very scary. Now, I consider myself an introvert. I'm a very, inside person. I'm not one to, go out to a club on a Friday night. I'm not one to go to parties. Those days are kind of past me. Now, I go to concerts, I go to sporting events, I go and do, other things. I do plan events and everything like that. But when it comes to going out to clubs or going out to, anything, I don't do that stuff no more. I'm going to welcome in Cam G. Cam is my co-host here on the Sunday edition of the Huddle Hub podcast. He's had a very busy schedule the past couple weeks, but he has the day off today. He's going to be joining me here. Cam, talking about covering real quick on the tragedy that happened out in Rhode Island last night with the mass incident that happened. 2 people, as far as right now we know, deceased, and 8 people are injured trying to break through. But I'm just saying, like, the world today is a scary place, my friend.
Yeah, to say the least, for sure. This is the first I'm hearing of this information.
Oh, you didn't know about it?
No.
Okay.
But there again, I mean, it's honestly, it's kind of hard to keep up with these kind of things because, I mean, it seems like they're happening every day almost. It's unfortunate. It really is. It's just, it feels like nowhere is safe anymore. And that's unfortunate, it really is. I don't know. It's just, you really have to just, be on your P's and Q's wherever you go, just make the right decisions, be mindful of where you are, get off the streets as soon as possible.
Yeah. Because
I feel like, where you lay your head at night now is probably the safest place to be, being out and about now is just a risk wherever you go. So just be safe out there.
Well, us at the Huddle Hub Podcast want to send our well wishes and our thoughts, prayers, whatever you believe in, and whatever you do, to send your regards to the victims of the families who lost loved ones and who have loved ones literally battling for their lives as we speak. It's just, we're a football show, but we can't sit here and not acknowledge the fact that this stuff is happening, where we live. And you're out in Indiana. I'm in Pennsylvania. John's in Pennsylvania. Here, he's 20 minutes away from me, and Rhode Island's right above us. But it's still the point. Like I was saying before you came on, I came across a video the other day. Somebody posted a video of neighbors who got into a scuffle and it ended in tragedy. And it's just like you can't even walk out of your house no more. And it's just, I don't know, man. But we still got to send those well wishes out, because I feel like it would be wrong of us not to, due to the fact, yes, we are here to entertain. We are here to get people ready for something that we love, and that is football. But a day that was supposed to be, and I know it still kind of was, but, we had John Cena's retirement match last night. We had the Heisman Trophy get crowned last night. A day that was supposed to have a bunch of happiness surrounding it. And I'm sure it's supposed to be every day, ends up having bad news come out of the day. And it just sucks. So just got to say this. If you're going out, if you are traveling, whether you are traveling, you're staying home, you have last minute shopping to do for the holidays, be safe, be mindful, and just, that's why I always say at the end of every show, be good to each other, be kind to each other, take care of each other, and be patient with each other. The world is not moving as fast as you think it is. The world, we have days where time goes fast. We have days where time goes slow. Sometimes days feel like they're never going to end, and sometimes days feel like they just went by so quick that you feel like you missed something. But just take your time. Be mindful, be safe of everybody, and just trying to have a good holiday season and beyond that, because it's not just the holidays. So let's switch gears, Cam. We're going to get into the news coming out of the world of football. So today is a jam-packed day for the NFL. We don't really have any college football stuff to cover today. It's all NFL stuff. So we're going to get into it. We're going to get into the news coming out of the world of football. number one, I kind of added in the college football news because there was only really two things that came out of college football. So I'll kick things off with that. We got to send out our congratulations to Fernando Mendoza, the quarterback of Indiana, winning the Heisman Trophy last night. He is the first Indiana Hoosier to win a Heisman Trophy. So congratulations to him. Now, I was hoping for Pavia from Vanderbilt to win, but I think it was a landslide. I think Fernando Mendoza, it was a dead giveaway he was going to win last night. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on Mendoza winning. If so, the floor is yours.
I mean, I think the right person won. I mean, he's a hell of a player for sure. To be the first Hoosier to ever win is as insane, actually. But that's a high honor. Honestly, it really is. And I think that just speaks volumes of how how that school has just turned around in the last 2 seasons. I think they were before that. I mean, I think they were like dead last in their division. So just to have that be turned around and then have any of their players for that matter win the Heisman Trophy, I think is just absolutely incredible. So well deserved. And like I said, I'm like you. I was hoping Pavia as well, but I'm happy for Mendoza.
I mean, Indiana going into this season was the most losing school in college football, 700 total losses in school history. And to go into this season and not lose one game, it'd be hard to say it'd be hard to say that they're not favored in the college football playoff this year. It'd be hard to say that because they're undefeated. They went out and they beat a powerhouse in Ohio State.
Yes.
And you look at the college football playoff, which me and John are going to cover very, very deeply on Tuesday. It's going to be hard to say that Indiana's not going to run the table. It's going to be hard to say that, not say that. It is, but we'll have to find out, and we will cover it on Tuesday's show. Kyle Whittingham, Utah's head coach, he is going to be stepping down after the Las Vegas Bowl. So he will be stepping down from his duties as head coach out at Utah after their bowl game. And Sharon Moore, the head coach of Michigan, he was fired earlier this week, and then moments later he was arrested. Some of the reports came out that it was because he was having inappropriate relations with a staff member, but there was also a lot more that came out of it. There was some accusations of stalking and so many other things going on to where he ended up getting arrested. Again, all accusations, it's he's innocent until proven guilty, but Sharon Moore, who had a pretty decent season out in Michigan, fired and arrested moments later. So again, scary freaking world out there, man.
Yeah.
Just never know who's under your nose. Never know. LaShawn McCoy, former Eagles running back. He is part of the Eagles Hall of Fame. He had said on his podcast earlier this week that if Kevin Petula, the offensive coordinator out in Philadelphia, does not get fired, that he wants out of the Eagles Hall of Fame. Now, when I heard this, my first reaction was, you have an honor of being a prestigious Hall of Fame like the Philadelphia Eagles Hall of Fame. You are arguably a Hall of Fame running back to get into the NFL Hall of Fame one day. And because of an offensive coordinator having issues in a season, you want out of that team's Hall of Fame. And this isn't just my reaction as an Eagles fan. I'd be having this reaction whether I'm an Eagles fan, whether I'm a Steelers fan, whether I'm a 49ers fan, whether I'm a fucking Titans fan. I'd be having this reaction. I think it's ridiculous to want to be out of a Hall of Fame that you earned to be in because of the current offensive coordinator. So I don't know. Well, let's see what happens with that. But Cam Newton, he had some comments about Phillip Rivers making his return. As you know, Phillip Rivers is making his return to the NFL after being away for 5 seasons. Phillip Rivers, who is 44 years old, he turns 45 on Tuesday. He will be starting for the Colts today. He'll be taking his first NFL snap in 5 seasons. Cam Newton went on to say that he would have came out of retirement if the Colts would have called him, and that he feels like it is a slap in the face that they did not call him because he's 36 years old. And you would think you'd want a younger quarterback going out there and being under center. But Cam, you got to think of it. Who's the more successful quarterback? You know, Phillip Rivers goes out and he breaks records upon records. Cam Newton, he's had one good season in his career, and that was the year he took the Panthers to the Super Bowl against the Broncos, ultimately lost. But I don't know. I mean, how do you feel about Cam Newton making these comments about Phillip Rivers coming back and saying it's a slap in the face to him?
I mean, I guess, respectfully so. I think he has a right to feel that way. To me, to bring back 44-year-old Phillip Rivers is absolutely insane. I hope this, whatever Indy is trying to accomplish, I guess, works out for them in the long run. I mean, they have a tall task of going against the Seahawks, who have been nothing short of spectacular this season. So I just think, and he's clearly out of shape. Like, he's clearly not in football shape at all. You can just see it in his face. So if you see the work that Cam Newton has put in since being away from football, because without him, officially retiring, so I can't really say he retired because he never really did. I would want a Cam Newton. I'm sorry, I would want a Cam Newton over Phillip Rivers, because he's just in shape. He's in better conditioning. So that to me, I think, speaks more volumes over just who's more successful, I guess. Now, obviously, he also made a point too where, he's saying that they wouldn't want me anyways because I'm kind of a liability, just because of the swagger, the personality that I bring, the celebrations, the things that I say and do. They don't want that. They don't want a borderline PR nightmare this late in the season. They are trying to salvage what is left, get back on track, and possibly make a run for the playoffs. So yeah, I could see that. But for me, I could easily understand why Cam Newton is saying what he said. He's literally staying ready. Like, he's not going to retire. He's made that clear officially. So I would want somebody who's at least physically ready versus just somebody who hasn't been. Or at least that's not what I've seen. It's not as well documented as Cam Newton's physical conditioning is.
I mean, Phillip Rivers, he's not in too bad a shape. He's been coaching a high school football team in his area where he lives. I believe it is one of his 9 kids' football team, if I'm not mistaken. So he stayed in somewhat shape between doing that, and he still, threw around and everything like that. But you're not wrong. I mean, we don't know what type of shape Phillip Rivers is physically in. He was good enough to pass the Colts physical, because you have to pass the physical in order to play. You cannot just say, hey, I'll come play, and you're automatically on the team. No, you got to pass a physical. Then you got to get signed to the practice squad, and then you got to go at least 2 days on the practice squad and take a couple reps before getting signed to the 53-man roster. Phillip Rivers passed all that. So the Colts, obviously, they see something they like, and with the position they're in right now, sitting at 8-5, they fell from first to third in their division in the last 2 weeks, going up against this Seahawks team where that defense is crazy good. I didn't realize how good the Seahawks defense was until I seen it the other week. And I was like, God, this defense is fucking good. It is good. Like, scary good. I'm not talking Legion of Boom good, but it's good. So it's going to be a true test today for Phillip Rivers as he goes out and takes on the Seahawks. That game starts at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today. TJ Watt, defensive end of the Steelers, he was hospitalized on Thursday for a lung evaluation. It was mentioned yesterday that he went in and had surgery. He's going to be out of the Monday night game against the Dolphins. So no TJ Watt for the Steelers defense as they go into their Monday nighter. Joe Burrow, quarterback of the Bengals, he was questioning his future earlier this week with the Bengals after coming off their loss to the Bills. They fall to 4-9, but crazy enough, the Bengals are still in playoff contention, and I have their situation on how they can get into the playoffs and still host a playoff game. So we're going to talk about that in a few moments. So stay tuned. Travis Jones, nose tackle the Ravens. He signed a 3-year, $40.5 million extension with the Ravens. We also had another extension yesterday. Josh Myers, center for the Jets. He signed a 2-year, $11 million extension with the Jets. Couple of injuries for the out this week. T. Higgins, wide receiver of the Bengals, he's going to be out. Alvin Kamara, running back of the Saints, he's going to be out. Marvin Harrison Jr., he's going to be out for the Cardinals for, I believe this is his 7th week in a row that he's out for the Cardinals. So that's rough for that team. So a couple big players going to be out. And as far as players that are going to be starting today, Kenny Pickett is going to be taking over the quarterback position for the Raiders against the Eagles today. So Kenny Pickett returning to Philly, and he's playing against the team he won a Super Bowl with. It's crazy. That's gonna be a good thing, good matchup to see. And Brady Cook is going to be the starter for the Jets today. And last bit of news, Joe Buck, the Monday Night Football announcer, he got awarded the Ford C. Frick Award this past week. And him and his dad, Jack, are the first father and son duo to win the award. So congratulations to Joe Buck. Joe Buck is one of my favorite announcers, Cam. I love Joe Buck. He's really, really good. He's one of my inspirations. He is when it comes to announcing. So hats off to him for winning that award. Cam, we know the NFL playoffs are right around the corner, as we know. And, well, we got some clinching scenarios that can happen this week. The first scenario is the Denver Broncos. They can clinch the playoffs this week with a win, or if they end up losing, they need the Texans to lose and the Colts to lose to clinch the playoffs. So if Denver wins today against the Packers, they're in. But if they lose, they need the Texans and the Colts to both lose today. So Denver has an opportunity to clinch the playoffs today. The Patriots have a chance to not only clinch the playoffs, but also clinch the AFC East today. All they have to do is beat the Bills. That's it. They beat the Bills, they win the East, and they clinch the playoffs. But if they were to lose to the Bills, then they don't win the East. But if the Texans and Colts were to lose today as well, then the Patriots clinch the playoffs, even in a loss to the Bills. So the Broncos and Patriots going to be relying on those Texans and Colts today to lose, basically. So, and then the Rams, it's simple for them. They win, they're in. That's it. That's it for the Rams. So we got a couple of teams that some other scenarios. First off, I'm going to say the Bengals scenario. You ready to hear the Bengals scenario on how they can make the playoffs and still host a playoff game?
I got this.
So the Bengals could still host a playoff game against the Patriots in Cincinnati. Now, what they need to do is they need to win against the Ravens this week and then win 2 out of their last 3 games. Their schedule is the Dolphins, Cardinals, and Browns. So if they win this week and then win 2 of their last 3, but they also need the Steelers to lose out. So the Steelers to go 0-4 in the next 4 games. And they need the Ravens to lose their next 3, but they need the Ravens to beat the Steelers. That's how the Bengals could ultimately host a playoff game. That means they'd win the North, and they would host a playoff game against the Patriots. That's crazy.
That's nice.
Okay? Now, for them to just pretty much make the playoffs, or this scenario to happen, they need the Bills to win out, and then they need the Patriots to lose to the Bills, beat the Ravens, and then lose one of their last 2. Jets and Dolphins are one of their last 2. And then they would need the Chargers to lose one of their 4 remaining games. So the easiest scenario is for the Chargers, because I think the Chargers will end up losing one of their last 4. But that's what the Bengals need to host a playoff game at 4-9. 4-9, a playoff team. It's crazy how they're still involved. We do have some teams that could be eliminated from playoff contention. Okay. Now, as we know, the Titans, Commanders, or the Giants, Raiders, Titans, who are all 2-11, are eliminated. The Commanders, Saints, Cardinals, Browns, Jets are 3-10. They're eliminated, and the Falcons are 5-9. Those teams are eliminated. The teams facing elimination this week, the Vikings at 5-8. They take on the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football, and then the Chiefs, who played the Chargers at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time today, could be eliminated. I got the Chiefs elimination scenario as well as the Vikings for today. But the Vikings, this is theirs. If the Vikings were to lose, or the Bears and Lions both win, the Vikings are out. So that's it. The Vikings need the Bears and Lions to ultimately lose today to even stay alive. But if they lose, they're done. If the Bears and Lions go out and win, that's it. The Lions, they can lose their 1 seed contention with a loss today. The Eagles, they can lose their 1 seed contention with a loss and a Rams win, a Seahawks win or tie, or a Rams win, 49ers win or tie, Packers win, and a Bears win, or a loss and a Rams and Seahawks both tie. So the Eagles need to win today to stay involved in the number 1 seed contention at 8-5. So the Buccaneers, they can lose their 1 seed contention with a loss today, or a tie and the Rams win and tie, or the Seahawks win or tie, 49ers, Packers, Bears win or tie, or the Rams win, Seahawks win or tie, or the Rams tie and Seahawks win. So the Buccaneers have a rough road ahead of them to stay alive for the 1 seed. But right now, the way it looks, the Panthers, I mean, if the Buccaneers end up losing this week and the Panthers win the next 2 weeks, the Panthers can win the NFC South. How cool would that be for the Panthers to win the NFC South?
It's been a while.
Right? It's been a long while since they've won the NFC South. The Panthers, I mean, they have a lot of scenarios to where they can lose the 1 seed contention today. The Bengals will be officially eliminated with a loss or a tie and a Steelers win. That's the simplest thing for the Bengals to get eliminated today. The Dolphins are officially eliminated with a loss. And we got another one here. The Bills can lose their 1 seed contention with a loss today. The Steelers can lose their 1 seed contention with a loss today. The Texans the same. Colts the same. And then the Chiefs. This is the one we've all been waiting for, the Chiefs. Okay? If the Chiefs lose today and the Bills, Jaguars, and Texans all win, Chiefs are done. That's it. For the first time in the Patrick Mahomes era, the Chiefs will not be in the playoffs. So their contention is hanging in the balance today.
Wild.
I said it, Cam. I said it. I had that feeling at the beginning of this year. I did not feel like the Chiefs were going to make it this year. There was just something about this season that I felt like the Chiefs were not going to make the playoffs this year. So
that's nuts.
Yeah. You know, and I went back and I went back and watched the episode that I made my predictions. And I said, do I think the Chiefs will ultimately make the playoffs? Yeah, but I got a feeling they're not going to make it this year. I had a small feeling they were not going to make it this year. So we'll have to see what happens. The Chiefs, they're hanging in the balance today. Cam, you ready for some records and milestones that can be broken this week?
Yes.
A lot of records and milestones can be broken this week. We're going to start off with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett is 2.5 sacks away from tying Michael Strahan and TJ Watt for the single season sack record that is set at 22.5. He is 3 sacks away from becoming the lone record holder. So, I mean, if Myles Garrett can get to Brock Purdy, or no, they don't play the 49ers today. Who do they play? Who do the Browns play? The Bears. If he can get to Caleb Williams today a couple times, we can end up having Myles Garrett breaking a record, the sack record. So Matthew Stafford can join Aaron Rodgers, who had 8 straight home games back in 2014, as the only player in history with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions in 6 straight home games in one season. So Matthew Stafford is working on his 6th straight home game with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, or more touchdowns with no interceptions. And Aaron Rodgers did 8 straight games back in 2014. So Matthew Stafford, the way it looks right now, Matthew Stafford can actually, I believe, if I'm correct, the Rams have 3 more home games. I might be wrong on that. Rams. So the Rams play at home today against the Lions. They got 2 more home games. So if he does it today, and then in week 18 against the Cardinals, he'll tie Aaron Rodgers from 2014. So Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer. That guy's a Hall of Famer.
For sure. Absolutely.
I mean, all the 3,000-4,000 passing yard seasons he's had out in Detroit before he went to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And then the success he's been having in LA. I mean, the guy's a Hall of Famer, bar none. So he could also become the third quarterback all time with no interceptions in 10 consecutive home games.
Jeez.
Yes. So if he does not throw an interception today, it'll be 10 straight home games without throwing an interception.
That's insane.
It's crazy. I mean, just to think he plays his best football at home. I mean,
he does.
I'd be scared to go to LA. I would be. I'll say this right now. If the playoffs come around and the Eagles go to LA, that's it, man. I think the Rams will take it. I'd be scared to play the Rams in LA. And that would be a bittersweet comeback for the Rams after last year's playoff game in the snow in Philly, where the Rams realistically probably should have won that game. Probably should have. But that season's over. Can't talk about it no more. Drake May. Drake May's having a hell of a year, Cam, don't you think?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. He could become the sixth quarterback in history with 11 straight wins in a season under the age of 24. So 11 straight wins today if they beat the Bills. He can also with at least 250 yards passing and a rating of 100 or higher, a passing rating of 100 or higher, he could become the fourth quarterback under the age of 24 to record 10 such career games. Now, I said to John the other day, Cam, I said, I can't believe I look at these records every week, following along with these and just seeing these rookies come out and have the game they're playing and the guys that they're ending up surpassing. I'm like, it's been such a short time. But then he brought it to my attention. I had to remember those guys played 17 games. These guys are played 16 games. These guys are playing 17. They have one more. This was the same argument we had last year with Saquon Barkley, with him breaking the rushing record, or almost breaking the rushing record. But you know what I mean. So, the argument of O.J. Simpson did it in 14 games, and then I'm drawing a blank here, did it in 15, 16 games. Now with Saquon playing in 17 games. So, man, I'm losing my voice. I should probably drink something. Josh Allen, quarterback of the Bills, with 3 touchdown passes, he could become the fourth player in history with at least 3,000 yards and 25 touchdown passes in 6 out of 8 of his career seasons. Okay. That would have him joining Peyton Manning, who had 8 seasons like that, Mahomes, who had 7, and Russell Wilson, who had 6. Josh Allen, who has had 5 career seasons with at least 35 combined passing and rushing and receiving touchdowns, can join Tom Brady, who had 7, Aaron Rodgers, who had 7, Drew Brees, who had 6, all done in their first 6 seasons. So Josh Allen joining them in the records. And then if he has at least 80, he also has 85 regular season wins, and with a win on Sunday can tie Tom Brady with 86 and Russell Wilson with 86 for second most regular season wins by a quarterback in their first 8 seasons. So Josh Allen, I mean, like I said earlier, Cam, I know the Bills are having the year they're having, and I said this to my mom yesterday because my mom is very much into football. She loves football, right? I said to her yesterday, she actually said to me that she went out yesterday and she spoke to somebody who was a Raiders fan. And they said that they think the Broncos are going to make the Super Bowl this year. And I said, I wouldn't discredit the Bills. I think the Bills are that wild card team who are having a rough season. But when they get to the playoffs, that experience is going to kick in. And that's where I think Josh Allen turns it on. I have a feeling that's when Josh Allen really turns it on. So I wouldn't discredit the Bills yet. I wouldn't. Not at all. Let me get a drink, man. Fucking A. Talking so much. If you have any thoughts on these records, Cam, by all means, well, I'm kind of wet my whistle here.
Like I said, I definitely wouldn't discredit the Bills either, So they definitely have had a rough, regular season. But I wouldn't doubt. I wouldn't doubt that they get into the playoffs. And as you said, that experience kicks in for sure. It's always the experience over, I would say, the newcomers who haven't been there yet. So, yeah, I definitely think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the Bills are going to make it. I think the So,
I mean, this person mentioned the Broncos making the Super Bowl and everything. Bo Nix, who is actually having a hell of a season, he can end up in the record books this week. If he ends up winning, since entering the league, has had 21 wins, and he could tie Andrew Luck, Dak Prescott, Ben Roethlisberger for second most wins by a quarterback in their first 2 seasons. And he would be trailing Russell Wilson, who has 24, by 1 win. So Bo Nix wins this week. He surpasses all those guys, Roethlisberger, Prescott, and Andrew Luck, with his 23rd win. With 4 games left, he could surpass Russell Wilson, who has 24. And the Broncos have a pretty fairly winnable schedule down the stretch. So Bo Nix himself getting into the record books, but not only that, he can also, with 27 completions, could become the 4th quarterback with at least 700 completions in his first 2 seasons, surpassing Justin Herbert, or he'd be joining Justin Herbert, who had 839, Trevor Lawrence, who had 746, and Kyler Murray, who had 724 in their first 2 years. That's a lot of completions in the first 2 years. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, that's
a
nuts.
lot. We got more, Cam. There's a lot of records that could be broken this week. A lot. That's how crazy this week is. That's why I said this week is going to be a very, very good week in football. Christian McCaffrey, if with 5 receptions, can become the first running back in history with at least 90 receptions in 3 career seasons, surpassing Larry Centers and Austin Eckler. He can also, with 97 receiving yards, join Marshall Faulk, Lenny Moore and Marshall Faulk as the only running backs with at least 900 receiving yards in 2 seasons. A running back with 900 receiving yards.
Wow.
Tell me the running back position hasn't become more important in this past couple years.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's why it's good to have players like Rico Dowdle, Jahmyr Gibbs, Christian McCaffrey, Chuba Hubbard, guys that can go out and catch the ball. Saquon Barkley. Go out and catch the ball and run. If the lane's not open when they're on the ground, go out for a pass. We'll get it to you. All right. Speaking of Jahmyr Gibbs, with a touchdown, he can surpass Barry Sanders for the most touchdowns by a player before the age of 24. Barry Sanders had 47 touchdowns before the age of 24. And Jahmyr Gibbs can surpass him today with a touchdown. So Jahmyr Gibbs has got to turn it on against the Rams defense today. That's all. He can also join Barry Sanders and Barry Sanders, who had 31 games, Randy Moss, who had 31 games, Gale Sayers, who had 30 games, and Maurice Jones-Drew, who had 30 games, as the only players in 30 games in the first 3 years with a touchdown in each of their games. So Jahmyr Gibbs, a couple records for him. He can also has 11 games with multiple rushing touchdowns, and with 2 touchdowns this week, he could tie Jim Brown, Earl Campbell, and Eric Dickerson for the most games with multiple rushing touchdowns by a player in their first 3 seasons. I'm dumb for trading him away. Just simple as that. But Cam, see, this is the thing is you know me, I try to be as humble as I can be and try and be a man of my word. And even fucking up a text message, I try and keep my word on things. And, it bit me in the ass. That's all. It just did. Jackson Smith-Njigba, wide receiver of the Seahawks, with 72 yards and a touchdown catch, becoming the 4th player under the age of 24 with 1,500 yards and 10 touchdowns in a season. Also with 90 yards, become the 6th player with 90-plus yards in 12 games in a single season. So Jackson Smith-Njigba gets 90 yards today. He ends up in the record books. And a touchdown. Oh, yeah, and a touchdown. So Puka Nacua, wide receiver of the Rams, with 7 catches and 14 yards, he could become the 5th player with 100 catches and 1,200 yards in 2 out of 3 of his seasons. Puka Nacua, man. Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver of the Lions, with 9 catches, can become the first player with 90 catches in each of their first 5 years, 6th all time with 90 in 5 straight years. So Amon-Ra St. Brown needs 9 catches this week to end up in the record books. We got like 2 more here. I'm sorry. There's a big list this week. Jamar Chase, wide receiver of the Bengals, with 72 yards catching, will surpass Odell Beckham Jr. for 4th most receiving yards by a player in the first 75 career games. Justin Jefferson, wide receiver of the Vikings, 134 yards away from surpassing Randy Moss for most receiving yards by a player in their first 6 seasons. He's also 6 catches away from surpassing Jarvis Landry for most receptions by a player in their first 6 seasons. And then Trey McBride, who has been a hell of a tight end this season. A hell of a tight end this year. 7 catches could become the first, with 7 catches could become the first tight end with at least 100 receptions in consecutive seasons and join Travis Kelce as the only other tight end all time with at least 100 catches in multiple seasons. He is also 5 catches away from surpassing Travis Kelce for most consecutive games by a tight end with 5 catches or more in a game. So even in a losing team, breaking records.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the records and milestones this week.
That's a lot.
It is. It is. And I'll tell you this, Cam. Here's the thing is I have a second monitor. I do. Okay. And I would love, I need a connector to get it connected to run all in one system. Okay. Until I get this connector, I have to write everything down. These are my notes this week. Okay. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 pages of notes.
Jesus Christ.
Okay. This is basically a book. Did you know that it's not considered a book unless you get to 10 pages or more?
I didn't know that.
So yeah, close. Yeah. Children's books, like the ones you read when you were like 3 years old, they were at least 10 pages. It's considered a book when it's 10 pages or more. It's considered a novel if it's like 150 pages or more, something like that. So one day I'm gonna be writing novels here, unless I can get my second monitor hooked up to the system here, and I don't have to do this at all. I can run everything on a second screen, But I'm old and I've kind of, technology kind of got past me, and now I got to figure everything out. We're going to take a 30-second break here at the Huddle Up Podcast. We'll be right back with the rundown of Week 15 in the NFL. All right, make sure you're heading over to all the Huddle Hub Podcast social medias after the show over on TikTok, X, and YouTube at the Huddle Hub Pod. You're going to hit the subscribe button over on the YouTube. That's how you follow. You're going to hit the follow button over on the X and the TikTok. TikTok is where you can check out all clips that are posted after shows, along with the YouTube channel. And over on the X, we make all announcements for shows, like when I was having technical difficulties this morning and couldn't go live until 11 o'clock because my internet went down. But yeah, announcements are made over on the X. Go hitting that follow button right after the show. And if you are watching on the Twitch channel, all of our social media links are in the bio. You can go ahead and click on whatever one you desire. Hopefully it's all of them, and help us build the Huddle Hub Podcast going through the rest of the 2025 season and beyond. So, Cam, we are booming on social media. I'll tell you that. You go over to the TikTok page, man. Whew. I mean, people, man, we start conversations.
People love their football.
I mean, I'll say this, there are some negative comments that happen at social media. You know how it is, whether it's football or whether it's pro wrestling, you get the negative comments.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, the positive feedback that we get, from people loving the show, loving the clips, loving seeing what we talk about, it's a great feeling to know. It is a great feeling to know that people enjoy what we're doing and we're doing something right. We're trying to provide something for somebody, if they can't, watch NFL games or they want to hear some like fan perspective, because you go and watch ESPN or watch like Fox or CBS, you get all like ex-professionals and Hall of Famers, their opinions and stuff, but we're fans. That's all we are. We're fans. And we're giving our perspective on what we think. Now, some of the negative comments are people that think we're professionals, like we're hired by ESPN or something. There's people that are on there like, how the hell do you have this job? You don't know what you're fucking talking about? Like, do you see an ESPN fucking logo on my screen? Like, what the hell, dude? Chill out, bro. We're fans. Just giving our take. Somebody had the goal to call John's microphone a Dollar Tree microphone. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with people, man? Like, what is wrong with people? Like, how about you go buy a microphone and a setup and you do this? Do it as much as we do. Twice a week. Me and you fucking 4 times a week. Like, or you 3, me 4. You know what I mean.
It's the internet, man. I don't know what to tell you. It's natural, I guess, for them to just. It's easier. I said this before about the negative interactions on the internet. It's easier to give hate than it is to give praise on the internet for some reason.
It is, but I will say this. I appreciate the people that praise us and give us good feedback, because, even in good feedback, they can give us feedback. For example, we'll get comments like, oh, you guys don't get too in depth. Like, you don't give statistics or anything for games, yada, yada, yada. And then you got to go in and explain like, hey, we only run until a certain time. Like, we kind of got to like move things along.
Yeah.
Like, if we wanted to really get statistically deep into a game, we'd be here all day.
Yeah.
We're just giving our short take and our short, quick thought on what we think is going to happen in the game, because we got to move things along.
Yeah.
So it's like you want all that statistical stuff. I mean, there's other creators out there that do it. There are. But I'm happy you're here watching us. That's it. I mean, we are almost at 80 followers on TikTok. 80 natural followers on TikTok that we've built since March. That's not bad. Not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
No, and over 800,000 views. We're almost at 1 million views.
Crazy.
Which is insane. We were actually on the FYP page for like an hour the other night. I think it was Wednesday night. We were on the FYP for an hour, and we were trending, which was kind of cool, because I posted like 5 videos that night, and we were trending for about an hour. So the traffic that came through was really nice to see. We're doing something right. So, okay, let's get into week 15, man. Thursday, we had the Falcons and the Bucs. The Falcons went out and had a very successful game against the Buccaneers, beating them 29-28. So the Buccaneers suffer a loss to the Falcons, man. I said it that, it's the Buccaneers and Falcons. The Bucs should have no problem. They get Mike Evans back. They get Chris Godwin back. They have their offense at full force now. And they fell apart. They had a lead against the Falcons, and the Falcons just came back. Kirk Cousins had a game. Kyle Pitts went off. Like, holy crap. And the Falcons succeed. But even in winning, they get eliminated from playoff contention. So, let's run it down, Cam. We got the let's start off with the 1:00 set of games. We got the Baltimore Ravens heading out to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. The Bengals trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. Meanwhile, the Ravens are trying to stick around in the lead for the AFC North. Meanwhile, the Steelers right now are in the lead. Cam, what do you got on the Ravens and Bengals?
This is AFC North football, so I'm expecting a very scrappy game here between the Ravens and the Bengals. Bengals really fighting and clawing and scratching to stay alive and potentially make the playoffs. I'm I got to give the edge to the Bengals here. The Ravens, I think, definitely went on a run. Starting 1-5, and that's to be commended because to pull themselves out of that hole, I'm sure it wasn't easy. But now they are faced with a tall task, closing out the season or getting to the close of the end of the season. So I think that's definitely going to affect them and just affect their psyche. Lamar Jackson, I don't know what's with Lamar Jackson. I don't know if it's just with the injury and maybe that's messing with his overall confidence or whatever, and that's just something that he's thinking about constantly about potentially getting re-injured in every game since then. But it's not the same Lamar Jackson. It just doesn't feel like the same Ravens team overall. And like I said, the Bengals got back. They got Joe Burrow back, I think, at just in time to again stay afloat. I think so. The Bengals definitely have a lot more momentum going into this game.
I mean, that's one thing the Bengals should be appreciative of is the fact that Joe Burrow's coming out. He comes back when the Bengals are they were 3-6 or 3-7 when he came back 2 weeks ago, and he's still battling. They were 3-7, I believe, when he came back, and he's still battling. Still trying to keep this team alive at 4-9. Can you imagine if the Cincinnati Bengals have everything fall their way and they make the playoffs and go 8-9? Like, imagine if that happens. The only team to ever go into the playoffs with a losing record was the Seattle Seahawks. They finished like 6-10 the 1 year, won every one of their division games, or they won all but one division game, and ended up, making the playoffs. And they won a playoff game too, I believe, that year. So, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility. The Bengals have a lot that need to happen for them this week, but the Ravens, I mean, they're so up and down right now. They are so up and down right now. We got the Las Vegas Raiders. Oh, my gosh. I can't even talk. We got the Las Vegas Raiders heading out to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles today. The Eagles on a 3-game losing streak. They are still in first place in the NFC East. Hopefully they can go out and get a win today. Cam, what do you got on the Raiders and Eagles?
With Geno Smith out, you got Kenny Pickett at the helm, so the Raiders offense is definitely going to look a little bit different there. Maybe a controversial take here, but I would say weeks ago, I would have made the change to Kenny Pickett over Geno Smith just to, again, try and turn the season around. I don't think Geno Smith is ultimately going to be the answer for Las Vegas. So we'll definitely have to see what happens with Kenny Pickett at the helm. This will definitely be the first time I've seen him be a starter, I think, since being in Pittsburgh, I think. Again, him going up against the team he won the Super Bowl with, being the backup for the Philadelphia Eagles. So again, that is a very interesting dynamic as well. The Eagles definitely on a slope. Seems like it just feels like they're kind of free falling right now. I'm not quite sure what the issues really is. I can't really pinpoint what it is with the Eagles right now. But they just don't give off the team that just won the Super Bowl. They don't give off defending champions to me right now. Definitely struggling. Defensively, they look amazing. Cooper DeJean just, he's really stepping up again and just seeming like almost like the captain, I think, of that defense right now. Amazing player. Great defense. Offensively, it's just I don't know what the answers is that they need. Jalen Hurts definitely didn't look like the Jalen Hurts of old that we've seen in the past. The last game they had against the Chargers, very sloppy game. Saquon has struggled all year. He definitely has not looked like the same Saquon that he looked like in the previous year. So I would say I'm giving the edge to the Eagles just because the Raiders have struggled so much. So they should easily, I think, beat up on the Raiders. I don't think they should have a problem.
It's snowing out in Philadelphia, getting about 5 to 6 inches of snow today. Game is at 1:00. They kick off in a little over an hour. The last time it snowed like this in Philadelphia, the Eagles played the Lions back in 2013, and LaShawn McCoy had a record-breaking day. He broke the single-game rushing record at that time for the yards that he had. And, it was a bad year for the Eagles. Wasn't that good of a year. It was a rough year. And but with the way the snow is coming down today, and I expect that run game to pick up tremendously for Philadelphia today. Saquon Barkley, I mean, you look at his statistics this season, 218 carries, 862 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's little under 150 yards away from 1,000, which you primarily want your running back to get to at least 1,000 yards rushing, which he's going to get to. That should be no question. Question is he going to do it today? Today would be a perfect day for him to be implemented into the offense. Him and Jalen Hurts, I see them both having the day on the ground, and hopefully the Eagles get back on track, win a ball game, and try and spread how close the race is for the NFC East with the Cowboys, because the Cowboys right now sitting 6-6-1. The Eagles are 8-5. It's a 2-game split. And the Cowboys are one of those teams up and down right now. And they got Minnesota tonight. Minnesota loses, they're out. Cowboys, they're trying to stay alive. If I was Philadelphia, take advantage of who you're playing today, get that run game going, and score quick and often. Because I wouldn't look at the Raiders as a pushover. They have a good defense. It's their offense they have problems with. And Kenny Pickett, the last time he was a full-time starter was out in Pittsburgh. He started like 2 games last year for Philly when Jalen Hurts went down with a slight injury. But I'm with you. I think Kenny Pickett should have came in earlier. I think so. When Geno started going on his streak of losing, I would have said, you know what, Kenny, get in there. It's your turn. I wouldn't have stuck with Geno as long as they did. Who knows? Maybe they'd be in a playoff race right now. So I expect the Raiders to come out today and show some fight as well. Kenny Pickett is a hell of a quarterback. He knows how to move the ball around. So we'll have to see what happens today out in Philadelphia. Hold on 1 second. Dog was breathing weird. Scared me for a second. We got the Arizona Cardinals heading out to Houston to take on the Texans today. The Texans are on a little bit of a win streak right now, Cam. They are in the playoff race. They are well and alive. They got the number 2 defense in the league. What do you got on the Texans and Cardinals today?
I would say the Texans pretty much have an easy road here, I would say, against the Cardinals. Cardinals really just have struggled. It seems like things just got worse, after losing Kyler Murray and having Jacoby Brissett at the helm right now. So I don't know. It's once again, it's another rough year for them. And I don't know what could possibly turn it around right now. I think it's kind of far gone. They're not going to make the playoffs. So it is what it is with the Cardinals right now. The situation is just, I think, going to get worse for them the closer we get to the end of the season. Texans, though, they definitely have turned things around. I really didn't see much in the Texans when they were struggling earlier this season, but they definitely have turned it around. The defense looks amazing. Recently coming off beating the Chiefs or whatever. So, yeah, the Texans are looking good right now. I think they are in the driver's seat. They just have to really keep their foot on the gas.
They're coming off 3 big wins. The Colts, the Bills, the Chiefs. Those are big wins.
Yes.
If I was Houston right now, I'd be sitting here looking back at that and saying, we just beat 3 playoff teams. The Chiefs, they're hanging on. But you got to consider the Chiefs a playoff team because of how on their streak they've had making the playoffs the past 9 years. 4 or 5 Super Bowls in the past how many years? So you still kind of consider the Chiefs a playoff team until they're eliminated. Texans are picking things up, man. I'll say this right now. Me, I'm a diehard Eagles fan, but I've always said that I have an AFC team as well. Because normally, you look for a team to root for if your primary team isn't doing too well, right? The Houston Texans have always been my AFC team since they've come into the league in 2002. Always. I have a CJ Stroud jersey too. John gifted me it for Christmas last year because I'm a CJ Stroud fan. I hope the Texans go out and win this ball game today, and I hope they go out and win big. Stay on this streak and get themselves back into the contention of winning the AFC South because I think they're going to take over the South. I do. I think the Jaguars might slip up in the next 4 weeks, and I think the Texans are going to overtake the South. And I think it starts today against the Cardinals. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. We got a big AFC West matchup when the Chargers head out to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. The Chargers coming off that big win against Philadelphia last Monday night in overtime. The Chiefs, they lose today. They're done. The playoffs are a Vision gone for Kansas City in the streak that they've been on. Cam, what do you got on the Chargers and Chiefs?
I think this is it. I think this is the end of the road for the Chiefs. The Chargers are okay. I mean, they haven't really been impressing me all that much. I think a lot of their game is really sloppy. So it's really going to be the battle of, how many times the ball gets turned over by both teams, I would say. And I would definitely say, the Chiefs specifically having issues within the last couple of weeks and last couple of games with turning the ball over. Chargers just have to do their job and capitalize on those turnovers that the Chiefs have, and or that their defense is able to create. And I think they can win this game. I really don't see how the Chiefs recover from this. So I honestly think this is it. I think the Chargers should have this.
Yeah, I think the Chargers go out and they take care of business today. I think the Chiefs, they've had a great run. Hats off to them. Patrick Mahomes, I mean, it's hard to argue that he is the new face of the NFL. Tom Brady, passed that torch on to him, basically. And now Patrick Mahomes is arguably the face of the NFL. I mean, a lot of people would argue that point, but it had to come to an end at some point. It had to. And did you ever think that it would happen in the Patrick Mahomes era? That's the question. And now all the talk about there's a possibility that, a couple teams might end up calling the Chiefs and the Bengals for Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes to come to them next year. Big trades. The Jets, the number one team that is being rumored to try and make a big deal for one of these guys for 2026. Is it out of the realm of possibility? No. But the question is who jumps first? Who takes that deal first? If you had to ask me, I'd say the Bengals. I don't see Patrick Mahomes going anywhere. I see him staying around in Kansas City, and I see him having more success with Kansas City as the years go on. Joe Burrow, I think he's at his wit's end with what's happening out in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati is going to have to do something big to keep him around. Other than that, Joe Burrow may be out the door and heading to the Big Apple next year and being in that gang green. It's as simple as that. So I think the Chiefs are done today, though. I think the Chargers go out and take care of the business they got to. It's going to be a cold one out there in Kansas City today, though, so you never know what can happen. We got an AFC East matchup. The Bills heading out to New England to take on the Patriots. If the Patriots win today, they win the AFC East. If they lose today, they need some stuff to happen to just clinch a playoff spot. The Bills, on the other hand, they're trying to get things going again, coming off their win last week against the Bengals. Cam, what do you got on the Bills and Patriots today?
If I was the Patriots, I would be very scared based off the performance that we've seen from the Bills last week. I mean, that was a shootout. And what a comeback from the Bills. It's clear that they are trying to make a statement here. And I would say what better way to do it than against the Patriots that came out of nowhere and have just overtaken the East from the Bills. I don't think a lot of people expected the Patriots to come out of nowhere, be 11-2 and first in AFC East. So Bills definitely are trying to are now, instead of chasing the Chiefs like they normally are in past season, are now chasing the Patriots. I don't know. I don't see the Patriots beating the Bills again and sweeping them in their divisional matchup. I see the Bills making a statement here. It's probably going to be a rough one. It's probably going to be a shootout for the Bills, much like how it was against the Bengals last week. I just don't see the Patriots being able to beat the Bills again. So I gotta give the edge to the Bills a little bit here. So.
I mean, that matchup they had earlier in the year, I mean, that was out in Buffalo. That was in Highmark. That was the last matchup that the Patriots and Bills were going to have in the old Highmark. Now they're out in New England. The Patriots have that home field advantage. And they win today. This can lead them into the playoffs and having that full-on home field advantage. Like I said earlier, though, it's going to be the experience factor once you hit that postseason on whether Drake May is going to be able to hold his head up high, or if somebody like a Josh Allen comes in there come January and eliminates them. We've seen it last year out in Washington. The Commanders had a great season, 12-5. Jaden Daniels, hell of a rookie year. went out and kicked the crap out of the Lions, but then they come into Philadelphia and they got the crap kicked out of them. It's that experience factor. And I think Josh Allen, he has that experience factor. I think with the way the Bills are playing right now, come off that momentum from last week, go into New England with that momentum. If they do not go into New England with that momentum coming off of last week, then I see the Patriots giving the Bills a problem today. I do. I see the Patriots, wearing some hats and jerseys or hats and shirts after this game saying AFC East champions. So we'll have to see what happens. We got the New York Jets heading out to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. The Jaguars right now lead the AFC South, but the Texans not too far behind them. And believe it or not, even though the Colts are having a little bit of an issue, they're not too far behind either. Do the Jaguars go out and beat the Jets today, Cam? What do you got on these two teams?
I definitely think the Jaguars go out and beat the Jets today. Kind of impressed with the Jaguars. They definitely have turned their misfortune, I think, from past seasons around this season. I don't know though. I'm kind of with you though. I do believe they eventually end up slipping up a little bit, and the Texans kind of take over that division for the South. But today I do believe that they should have this. I mean the Jets maybe still have their defense. The one thing the one positive thing I think they hang on. But other than that, I mean, Trevor Lawrence is, he's playing some excellent football right now. So I don't know if they have any issues with the Jets in this game.
Yeah, I think Jacksonville goes out and takes care of business today. I mean, the Jets have a young quarterback coming in and taking over today. Tyrod Taylor's out. Obviously, Justin Fields is benched and he's done for the year. Now they're going to take their chances on a third-string quarterback to come out and try and win them this game. I'll say this. If I was a team like the Jets or one of these 3-10 teams or even a 2-11 team, I'd be going out and losing. Right now, the Giants, because of favorable matchups and everything like that, and I have it here, heading into Week 15, the Giants currently hold the number one spot for the NFL draft, the first overall pick, and it's based on their full strength of schedule, and it's being easier than the Raiders or the Titans, who are also 2-11. The last time the Giants had the number one overall pick was in 1965 when they selected Auburn running back Tucker Fredrickson. So the Giants, for the first time in over 80 years, basically, could have the first overall pick if they continue to lose out. If I was a team like the Jets, the Titans, the Raiders, don't win. You want that number one overall pick. You want to try and bring somebody in to make your team better. Don't win. Put yourself in that position. Yeah, you're helping other teams who are in the playoff hunt, get that win and move on and be better. But there's a draft pick. I mean, you're playing for a draft pick at this point. Why are you going to go out and try? I mean, make it entertaining, but go out and lose. You're better off. And the Jets, their season was lost a long time ago. So I don't see the Jaguars having any issues. The Washington Commanders, they head out to New York today to take on the Giants in an NFC East matchup. Not much to this game, Cam. What do you got on the Commanders and Giants?
This could be a good game, I guess. I mean, they're both not really playing for much anymore. But that's why I would say both of these teams are dangerous. They just don't have anything to lose anymore. So this could be a good game. Who knows? We'll definitely have to see here. I guess I'll give the edge to the Giants here. They still have Jackson Dart. I believe so. I expect him to have a pretty good game here. So yeah, there's not much to this at all. They're not playing for anything. So I guess I'm giving the edge to the Giants.
Yeah, I picked the Giants to win today. I mean, Marcus Mariota, he's going out there and having good games for Washington, but not good enough to go out and win. I mean, they're 3-10 right now, not sitting in a good position. A lot of people thought that this team was going to come out and win the NFC East this year and do big things. And I said it at the beginning of the year. I said this team changed too much with their roster. They changed way too many things up. I didn't see this team having the season they had last year. 10-7, maybe a 7th spot in the playoffs, but nothing better. And they've under-exceeded those expectations, I guess I could say. The Giants, I mean, if I was them, go out and win for your home crowd today. I mean, yeah, you got the number one spot in the draft, Don't think about that right now. Don't think about that right now. Go out and win for your home team. Because these other teams are probably going to go out and try and win the rest of the season, where you could sit back and say, here you go, here you go, here you go, and still have the number one pick in the draft. So go out and win for your fans today. That's it. I mean, I'm kind of curious how much Giants tickets are now. We usually do this. We usually look up the price. We usually look at the price of tickets. Let's check out the Giants. New York Giants. Here we go. 4 events. For today's game against the Commanders, you can get section 319, which is at the top of the stadium. Cam, how much do you think you can get in for?
I'm gonna say
you are right on point. $10 to go to a Giants game. I mean, you want an NFL experience and you're in the area, go. That's all I could say. Go. I'll tell you this, seeing these prices right now, I mean, what's the rest of their schedule? They got the Vikings coming to town next week. How much are those tickets? $41. That'll probably lower by the time they get closer to the game.
Yeah, I would assume so.
They got the Cowboys coming to town. That's a $50 ticket. That will probably get lowered as time goes on. I mean, I might go to a Giants game. I'm not a Giants fan. I'm an Eagles fan, obviously, but they got the Vikings, the Cowboys coming to town in the next couple weeks. I'll go see a Giants-Cowboys game. I will. I would. Just to experience MetLife. Never been to MetLife before. The final game of the 1 o'clock set, we got the Cleveland Browns heading out to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Bears right now, red hot. They are in the lead of the NFC North. I believe they're actually tied with the Packers, but still technically in the lead for the NFC North, even though they lost to the Packers last week. What do you got on the Bears and Browns?
I think I expect the Bears to, recover from, the loss to the Packers. Very impressive game. Very impressive, with the Bears. It wasn't a blowout. So it wasn't like they just completely, fumbled, no pun intended, that game. So yeah, it was very impressive showing. Again, then you have the Browns. Even though the Browns are not really competing for anything right now, they're probably the most talked about 3-10 team with Shedeur Sanders and that whole thing going on right now. So I'm expecting big things out of him today. I think this would be even more so his proving ground against, a good team, versus, them playing the Raiders or the Titans or anything like that. Those teams that are just not good. I think this is also his proving ground to see if he's even able to perform even against teams like this. So, but obviously in the long run, I think it's going to be the Bears to win, to get back on their winning ways.
I actually believe if the Bears win today, they clinch a playoff spot too. I think they do. I think they do clinch a playoff spot, if I'm not mistaken. NFL playoff picture. Let's see here. I believe if they win today, they do clinch a playoff spot. And it just comes down to their division. Okay, so Falcons, Cardinals, Saints, Commanders, Giants are all eliminated. Vikings are on the bubble for this week. If they lose to the Cowboys, they're gone. You still got the Lions, Bucks, and Cowboys. So it'll be 10-4. So they would actually need the Lions to lose to the Rams, and they would need to beat the Browns. So if they beat the Browns today and the Lions lose to the Rams, then I think the Bears clinch a playoff spot today. I think that's another clincher that happens. So Bears fans, be ready. You might be celebrating a playoff berth today. So let's get into the 4 o'clock set of games, starting off with the NFC South matchup between the Panthers and the Saints. The Panthers, if they win the next 2 weeks, they can clinch the NFC South. Cam, what do you got on the Panthers and Saints?
They have the ability to right the wrong that happened when the first time they played the Saints this season. So they definitely should win. I think they are on the cusp of, like I said, just getting back to what they had when they went to the Super Bowl, when they had Cam Newton. I mean, they could potentially turn this organization around into a winning organization. Again, still a big supporter and fan of someone like Bryce Young, who has seen so much growth with the end of last season and just this season in general. So I definitely am hoping they definitely can pull it out against their the divisional rivals against the Saints today. Again, just another proving ground, I think, for Bryce Young and this team to progress and get better as this season comes to a close.
The Saints are in a position of getting a high draft pick this year again. With the season they're having, and me and you had a discussion last night about who the Saints could ultimately go after. They did go after Tyler Shough this year, and they plan on having Tyler Shough be that guy. He took over a couple weeks ago as the quarterback for the Saints. And you brought it to my attention that you thought about, Pavia going to New Orleans. It's not number one. It's not out of the realm of possibility. They would be the first team in history to draft a player under the age of 25 in the first round of the draft 3 straight years. Okay. It's not out of the realm. Or no, Shough was the second round. So sorry. But anyways, quarterback position 3 straight years under the age of 25. Okay. Not out of their own possibilities. The Commanders did it years ago when Robert Griffin III got drafted into the first round. They went into the 4th round. They drafted Kirk Cousins. Look at who had the most success. Kirk Cousins is still playing. Why RG3 is not no more. Yeah. So is it out of the possibilities of Pavia going to the Saints? No, it's not. My personal feeling, I feel like he's going to be a Raider. I do. That's where I believe he's going to end up. What's that?
Probably, yeah.
I feel like right now my belief is him going to the Raiders, but I don't see it out of the realm of possibility of him going to the Saints and the Saints saying, you know what, we like Shough, but we have an opportunity to get this guy and he's a little better. Let's hit that reset button one last time, and this is it. And this could be our guy. Now, Tyler Shough, he can end up getting traded. I mean, he's a rookie. So they can end up saying, you know what, we'll eat the $16.3 million we gave the guy and walk away, wipe our hands clean. They could. So you never know. You could see it. And I think Pavia would be a good addition to that Saints team. And I think he would be a good addition to build around to get that team back to success. So I can dig it. I can dig him going to the Saints. See it? Not wrong on that. The Detroit Lions are heading out to Los Angeles to take on the Red Hot Rams today. Cam, the Lions, man, they are just hanging on. Last year, they were dominant, number 1 seed in the playoffs, home field advantage. They blew it in the playoffs, though. Super Bowl expectations all over the place in Detroit. Now they're trying to hang on for their playoff lives. Meanwhile, the Rams, they're red hot. They're rolling. They're breaking records. Matthew Stafford, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams. What do you got on the Rams and Lions today?
I definitely agree with everything you just said about the Lions. They're just not the same team as last year. Dominant last year, struggled a lot this year, specifically in the offense. Defensively, I mean, they look pretty good. I don't know. It seems like every year with the Lions, it's like the playoff potential in Super Bowl aspirations seems like that hill just keeps getting steeper and steeper for them to be able to climb. I mean, look at the teams that they have to go through in the playoffs potentially, and look at the teams that they have to go through just to get to the Super Bowl, their ultimate goal. So I don't know. And this year, I feel like that mountain is higher than it's ever been. So the Lions have definitely struggled, and once again, they're faced with another tall task, I think, in playing the Rams. The Rams are red hot this year. Matthew Stafford playing again like he is the MVP candidate and overall winner of that race right now, and he's playing, to me, I've said this before, like he wants another ring. So excellent, just an excellent season by him overall. Slipped up, lost to the Panthers 2 weeks ago, got back on track, beat the Cardinals, and then of course in this game I have to give the edge to them just because I mean their track record this year so far has just been next to perfect, I would say. So I got to give it to the Rams. The Lions, I definitely think is going to struggle. I think in this game if they don't get off to a hot start early on in this game.
I mean, I'm going to say this right now. If you have Jahmyr Gibbs in fantasy today, I'd be worried. I think this Rams defense is going to be targeting him very much today. Yeah, I do. I think he gets shut down today. I think you'll be lucky if you get 15 points out of the guy. I do. I mean, fantasy playoffs start this week. They've already kicked off. If you had players on Thursday night, it's already kicked off. I'm in the consolation, bracket. I didn't make the actual playoffs. I had a better season than I did last year. Finished 5-9 opposed to 3-11. But I'd be worried if I was a fantasy player for Jahmyr Gibbs today. This Rams team is they're red hot. I think they are trying to right the possible wrong from last year. I mean, again, like I said, that Eagles playoff game, they should have probably won that game. You go back and watch that, and in the last 2 minutes, that throw to Puka Nacua that changed the trajectory of the Rams, run. They're trying to right their wrong from last year. They believe that they got ripped off, and now they're coming out and they're doing and taking care of business. And I think they're going to go out and take care of business today against the Lions. They're going to continue this hot run. They're going to stroll right into the playoffs. And you're not wrong. We could possibly be seeing the Rams putting another ring on their finger. Matthew Stafford, cementing his legacy with another ring. Whether he decides to move on after this year or not, I could see a Matthew Stafford saying, you know what, finish strong. Devontae Adams as well. I can see it. So you never know. The Indianapolis Colts, they head into Seattle today to take on the Seahawks. The Colts got Phillip Rivers, 44-year-old quarterback, turns 45 on Tuesday, coming in and taking over at the quarterback position. But the Seahawks, they are on a roll as well in the NFC West in that race with the Rams and 49ers. Cam, what do you got on the Colts and Seahawks?
This is going to be the most interesting probably game of this week to see what Phillip Rivers can do first and foremost. See what kind of conditioning and shape that he's really in to still play this game. Not playing in the last 5 seasons, I do believe. Again, they're faced with a tall task against the Seahawks. You said it earlier. Seahawks defense is incredible right now. So that is very scary. If I'm a Colts fan, I'm worried. I'm very worried to watch this game because it could be a nightmare, or it can turn nightmarish very quickly, I think, for Phillip Rivers in the Colts. Again, trying to battle back, to fight back after free falling from first in the division to third. With the Seahawks, like I said, as if I didn't already say this or didn't already make this obvious, I'm giving the edge to the Seahawks, obviously. Again, another red-hot team that came out of nowhere this year. Sam Darnold playing fantastic, playing just as good as he did when he was in Minnesota last year. So I got to give the edge to the Seahawks. Again, it's just the strength of what they've done this year, and I don't think that's going to just ultimately stop within this game. So.
If you look back to last year and where Sam Darnold took the Vikings were 1 win away from taking home field advantage in the playoffs. Okay. If the Rams go out and lose to the Lions today and the Seahawks go out and win their game against the Colts, the Seahawks and Sam Darnold will be the number 1 seed in the playoff race. They will flip positions with the Rams because the Rams currently hold that number 1 spot. And even if the Packers go out and win today, it doesn't matter. That's their 10th win. They have that tie. So the Seahawks, by the end of today, could be considered the number 1 seed in the playoff race with 3 weeks left. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's almost like Sam Darnold saying, look, we missed that 1 seed by 1 win last year. And it came down to week 18. Seahawks got something to fight for too. And that defense, like I said earlier, is insane. So the Colts got their hands full today. They do. The reports came out that Phillip Rivers in practice today completed 96% of his passes in practice. The ball hit the ground no more than 5 times in practice this week. That's crazy. But now it's live action. You're not playing against your guys on the defensive side of the ball. You're playing against another team. So I expect the ball to hit the ground a lot more than just 5 times. We got the Green Bay Packers heading out to Denver to take on the Broncos. Both teams are red hot right now in the playoff race. The Packers are holding the 2nd spot in the playoff race, while the Broncos, they hold the 1st spot, the number 1 seed in the playoff race. Cam, what do you got on the Packers and Broncos out in Denver today?
Again, this could be another tough game. A really big game for the Broncos, a really big game for the Bo Nix era with the Denver Broncos. Packers right now, I think they're definitely cleaning things up. Even just the awkwardness, I guess they had mid-season, after the whole tie thing. So they're definitely cleaning things up, and I think making an obvious case, for that playoff race right now. So this one's tough. I think this can go either way. Both teams are really, really good. So I would say definitely expect a shootout with this game. Both these teams have something to prove, I think.
Excuse me. Oh my gosh. I mean, I'll say this: the Broncos, they go out and win today against the Packers. I mean, it would be a huge win. Yeah, it's not in Lambeau, it's in Denver. It is. So if Green Bay goes out and wins in Denver, which they have not done, I mean, Green Bay hasn't won in Denver since, I believe, 1960 or 1972, something like that. It's been a long time since they won out in Denver. The Packers are 1-6, I think, all time against Denver, and their only win was back when they won in Denver. That's it. So Denver has the upper hand on Green Bay in history. But these aren't those teams. This is a whole different team. You can look at the record books all you want. You can look at the history all you want. Oh, this team never won here, or this team only won one time here, and all that stuff. Different coach, different players, different scheme, different pace. It's a whole new ball game today. This isn't leather helmets and plastic pipes running across your face to protect yourself. This is a different game. So, this is heavier, harder hitting football than it was back in the 70s, 60s when they wore leather helmets, took old tires and shaped them in helmets and all that stuff. I'm trying to be funny. Final game of the 4:00 set. We got the Tennessee Titans heading out to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Cam, what do you got on the Titans and Niners?
I feel so bad for the Titans in this game. I really do. It's been rough as it is. And then to go against the 49ers, again, who have just been great, I think, this season. They've dealt with a lot of injuries and big players being up. They've still just gone out there and just found a way to win. I think that says a lot about this organization and this organization's determination to get to the playoffs and to make a run. So, again, got to give the edge to the 49ers. I think that's a no-brainer here. Titans sneaking away with a win last week against the Browns. Who I mean, we all know the story there. They probably shouldn't have won that game. But yeah, it's going to be a struggle for them, I think, against the Niners in this game.
Yeah, I mean, the Titans are one of those teams that just, high expectations and low rewards. I mean, this team, they're lucky if they go out and win a ball game. They are. And I don't see them doing it today. Christian McCaffrey, he's dealing with an injury, but he's still going to play today. It's his knee. They're saying possible limited reps, but he's still going to be good to go. Expect Brian Robinson Jr. to get more carries today. But I still don't see, even with the 49ers in the shape that they're getting back to health, things are starting to get a little better for them, health-wise, getting all their players in. They've stayed afloat for most of the season. So I don't see the 49ers having a problem against the Titans today. On Sunday Night Football, we got the Minnesota Vikings heading out to Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The Vikings, they lose this week. They're done. The Cowboys, they're also hanging on to their playoff lives. They need to win this game tonight on Sunday Night Football. Cam, what do you got on the Vikings and Cowboys?
This is a weird one. Vikings are in a very, tough situation right now in terms of their, chances of making the playoffs. Cowboys are too, I would say. They went on a little bit of a run there, trying to turn around their fortune of this season. George Pickens, I don't know why I was going to say Pickett, but George Pickens has been great for their teams thus far. I would say he's been better than CeeDee Lamb, and that says a lot. CeeDee Lamb was their guy before they got George, and George is just kind of outshining CeeDee Lamb, I think. So their offense definitely is something to watch for, because they can just be explosive at any time. Even when it looks like they're down and out in a game. I mean, like I said, again, it just looks like their offense is just always there to turn around games. I would say I give the edge to the Cowboys in this game. The Vikings, again, it's odd. They're just another one of these up and down teams. You don't know what to expect from them. So, I mean, could they potentially, I would say, pull out an upset victory, a surprising, shocking victory against the Cowboys? Possibly. But I just don't, I really don't know what Vikings I'm getting on a week-to-week basis. The Cowboys, I think, are a little bit more semi-consistent, I guess you could say, and you kind of know what to expect from them. So I got to go with the Cowboys.
I'll say this. The Cowboys are not a bad team. I think they get in their own way most of the time. I mean, they could have went out and won last week's game against the Lions, but they got in their own way. There's a lot of games this season where I think the Cowboys could have won, but they just get in their own way. And that's their problem. They got a hell of a receiving core in CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. They got a hell of a tight end in Jake Ferguson. Their running back position, Javonte Williams, is not a bad running back at all. And Dak Prescott isn't that bad of a quarterback. This team got the players to go out and win ball games, but it just seems like they get in their own way at times. They need this win tonight. They do. They need this win. They can't afford to lose this game. And I think the Cowboys, with the inconsistency the Vikings have had all year, their defense finishing, in the bottom half of, the top, the list. I mean, they're number, I think, 23 this year on defense, which is insane. Normally the Vikings are in the top 10 on defense. This year, they're like 23rd. That's crazy. And you got receivers like CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens and Jake Ferguson who go up the middle of the field. The Cowboys should eat that defense alive tonight. And we'll have to see if it happens. We'll have to. Because if the Cowboys don't take advantage of the opportunities that get given to them, because there will be opportunities that get given to them, they don't take advantage, they're going to go out and slip up and lose this ball game to the Vikings. We can end up seeing the Cowboys on the list next week for eliminating teams to be eliminated. So we'll have to see what happens tonight on Sunday Night Football between the Vikings and Cowboys. We wrap up Week 15 on Monday Night Football when the Miami Dolphins head out to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. The Steelers are going to be without TJ Watt this week as he got surgery. The Dolphins, I mean, their season is somewhat of a lost cause. Cam, what do you got on the Dolphins and Steelers?
It's tough for me because there's so much just going on. Of course, the fan in me wants my team, Steelers, to win this game. At the same time, though, I'm kind of rooting for the Dolphins in a weird way because I mean they've been on a run. They've won like their last 4 games in a row, definitely turning things around. Again, I'm not even a Dolphins fan, but I think they've been the most entertaining like circus this season. I mean, the whole Mike McDaniels thing and whether or not he's going to get fired, them firing, I believe it was like their offensive coordinator or general manager. Just everything. The comments with Tua and in the media, just everything they've done this season has just been a complete mess. But it's been entertaining. Yeah. I guess maybe because I'm personally not a fan. So on the outside looking in, I can just look at that and just be like, hey, this is entertaining to say the least. So they've just been an entertaining circus, I think, all year. And then, like I said, just turning things around. So, again, I feel like this game could go either way. Of course, naturally, our best defensive player is out. So that just builds the drama even more. I got to give the edge to the Steelers. I think this is where the Dolphins rode their little winning streak they've gone on the past couple of weeks. I think that's where that ends. I think this defense, even without TJ Watt, I think just overwhelms Tua. And I don't think they're going to know what to do with it specifically. Don't know what Aaron Rodgers I'm going to get. Again, 1 week he could play great. The next week he could be out there and just like running for his life. So I'm not sure what the offense is going to look like. Defense, I expect them to have a field day, honestly, with just getting after Tua. So we'll definitely have to see there. But I would say I'm giving the edge to the Steelers here.
I'm going to say this. I agree with you on giving Tua big problems. The Steelers have one of the top pass rushing defenses in this league today. They do. Sometimes you don't see it, but you look at the stats, they do. The Dolphins, I feel bad for the Dolphins to the fact that they are basically like a traveling circus of a team, even at 6-7. The not knowing whether they can go out and win a game or not. I mean, me and John, we do our pick challenge every week. Okay. And as we sit right now, John has 135 wins this year. I have 131, 4 games back from him. And we have 4 games difference this week. Okay. So actually 3 games different this week. Sorry. So if I win all those games, I'm 1 back. Normally I'm 20 something games back by now. But this year, totally different. It's been a weird year. Has been. I look at how many times I've picked Dolphins this year, and it hasn't been that many. Why? Because of their inconsistencies. They're like a traveling circus. You can't know what type of show you're going to get from them and whether it's going to be good or bad. The Steelers, on the other hand, their defense, I have more confidence in their defense to go out and win this game on their own on Monday night, even with how good Aaron Rodgers has been this season. Aaron Rodgers this year, he has a 65.4 completion percentage. 2,375 yards, 20 touchdowns, 7 interceptions with a 96.2 rating. That's good. If you had not many big expectations for Aaron Rodgers this year, I think he's proven a lot of people wrong. And I think Aaron Rodgers, at the end of the day, and I'm saying this right now, is going to lead this team to the AFC North Championship this year. Get this team into the playoffs, and I think ends that slump for Pittsburgh. And it could start on Monday night against the Dolphins. So that's it. Week 15. We got you guys ready. We ran it down. Cam, I'll say this right now, man. I've been up for over 20 hours. I've been up since I've been up long. I'm tired. I am. I'm very tired. You know, when I'm up for like a long amount of time, I start to kind of get, so
loopy.
Not loopy, but like I'm ready to just like chill out for the rest of the day and watch football and relax with the dogs and get some snacks, make some lunch, chill out. But I've been up for over 20 hours now. I have been. I couldn't sleep last night. I couldn't, So, but Cam, let's get the hell out of here, man. Let's go watch some football. With that being said, your socials are going to be on the bottom here. Make sure you're going and checking out everything Cam is doing on social media, especially Cam's Wrestling Corner. I know you posted a couple videos after John Cena's final match last night, Saturday's main event. Go check out Cam's Wrestling Corner. I promise you will not be disappointed. Not just saying it because this man is digitally sitting next to me. Great videos, Cam. What else you got going on? And what do you want to let people know?
Well, to build off what you just said, obviously go check me out on Cam's Wrestling Corner. I'm the most active there with making professional wrestling content, AEW, WWE, sometimes TNA here and there. So go check that out as well. And then, of course, I'm right here every single Sunday with Mike. Today was a unique circumstance, but I will be back specifically on a regular after Christmas, the Sunday after Christmas or whatever. So definitely check us out then. And every Sunday after that with me and Middlecore Mike right here on the Huddle Hub talking about some football. And then, of course, on River City Radio, check us out every single Monday night on the Table Spot talking about Monday Night Raw. This will now be the fallout for John Cena's last match. Curious to see how they push forward and do do something interesting afterwards after that. And then, of course, right there on River City Radio again, the addition of Phil Khan, me and Middlecore Mike obviously are going to be on the Boom every single Wednesday night talking about AEW Dynamite. So definitely join us on those shows as well. Love and appreciate all you guys checking out us this morning. Talking about some football.
Real quick before I let you guys know where you can find me. Go over to John's TikTok, Twitch, and YouTube right now. You can check out the videos he just posted on his Road to Glory and NFL Superstar on Madden. John taking care of all the video game content we post here on the Huddle Hub Podcast. You can check that out on the Huddle Hub Podcast YouTube channel as well. And I also started my Road to Glory. I'm going to be live tomorrow afternoon doing my first year of my college for Road to Glory. So I'll be live at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow, right here on the Huddle Hub Podcast Twitch channel and YouTube. You can find me on at MetalLike714 over on Instagram, X, TikTok, Snapchat. I don't do a lot of my personal social media. All my content creating is here on the shows. I'll be back here Tuesday night with John at 7 p.m. as we get you guys ready for the college football playoffs that kicks off next week, the first round of the college football playoff. We're also going to talk about We might talk about some bowl games. We're going to talk about the Heisman Trophy winner and all the other awards that got won this week by by some of the players. We got a jam-packed show for you guys on Tuesday surrounding college football. So come check it out, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be live. Me and Cam will be live tomorrow night over on Rivet City Radio's Twitch and Off the Top Media's YouTube channel for the holiday special on the table spot. It is going to be our top 10 wrestlers that we think that we feel should excel or think will excel in 2026. And then, like Cam said, the boom on Wednesday night after AEW Dynamite. We'll be live tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Rivet City Radio for this special. So, come check us out there. Be good to each other, as I always say. And like I said at the beginning of the show, again, thoughts, well wishes, everything, prayers, whatever you want to say to the families and everything out in Rhode Island. Again, sad situation there. And I always say this at the end of every show. Be good to each other. Be kind to each other. Take care of each other. Be patient with each other. The world is not moving as fast as you think. Until Tuesday night, well, come join me tomorrow for my Road to Glory. Until then, deuces, everybody.